always on time.
Yeah, we're late.
The one, the only, the longest tenured guest of the program, your 49er beat writer for The Athletic. He only goes on road trips he wants to. Matt Barrows, good morning.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Great.
We're good. Tough week. Matt?
What's that?
Sorry, I lost you there. I was just being silly and saying, did you have a tough week? With like,
a tough week during the bye. Well, for a writer, yeah, you got to kind of be creative in what you're writing about. I think that bye week is going to end up being, sort of a throwaway week. Oh, it's the bye. These guys get to rest. But I really do think that what you do with that bye week is critical if you're a team with the bye. Whether you take advantage of it the right way. And my suspicion is that the 49ers did. My suspicion is that they had practices last week on Thursday and Friday, and that those practices were intense. They got a lot of good work in. They stayed sharp. And, I expect them to come out really well early on against the Packers.
Yeah, I don't know if it was an advantage, Matt, but, there's 3 different teams they could have played, and the fact that the first game was the Packers demolishing the Cowboys, they knew right away, like, hey, look, that's who we're preparing for. That's who we're going to play. Again, they were going to prepare for all the teams, but any advantage to that, getting kind of earlier knowledge that they're playing the Packers?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be an advantage, given what you said, a little bit earlier knowledge. That game meant that it was going to be the Saturday game. I think that's an advantage for the 49ers this week. And if they won, it's an advantage next week going into the NFC Championship game. And I think the thing that really is striking is that the Packers caught your attention. I mean, Packers had a great game and a really good game plan. I thought that LaFleur's play calls were that in combination with Jordan Love's play, that's what stood out in that game. And that's what stood out for the 49ers all season, the combination of Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan. So it really is a battle of similar strengths in this game. 2 young quarterbacks with 2 really good offensive minds calling the play. Oh, and they happen to be running the same system. And one guy happens to be the former pupil of the other guy. So some good storylines. I'm sure the 49ers would have wanted to avoid, if they could, both of the former Shanahan pupils, just because there's a real knowledge of the offense that they have. But here we are, and I think it's going to be a fun game.
Matt Barrows with us. So Matt, with the understanding that any given Sunday or Saturday, with the understanding that teams are in the playoffs for a reason, if I had talked to you on Thursday and I had said, Matt, I want you to draw an X through 3 teams as far as the 49ers to have a nicely paved road, would those 3 teams have been the Cowboys, the Rams, and the Eagles?
Yeah, I mean, the only one that I hesitate on is the Eagles, just because they were going in the opposite direction. And if you watched that game last night, you may have been saying to yourself, when are the playoffs going to start? Those 2 teams did not look like playoff teams. A lot of mistakes, a lot of bad tackling, about a lot of dropped passes, bad play calls, the whole 9 yards. So, yeah, I mean, you would have said that, but boy, like I said, the Packers have sort of been the anti-Eagles. Eagles getting weaker and weaker as December went on, and the Packers have gone in the opposite direction. It's a really young team. I think Fox may have said that the Packers are the youngest team in the NFL 850 times during the game. And a young team at the end of the season. That's a team that's probably getting better and better each week. And I think that, like a lot of previous 49ers playoff teams, the Packers are hitting their stride right now. And so that's sort of a fear, a concern for the 49ers that, we're getting a team that's full of confidence, that is in rhythm, and that has really kind of found its stride right at this point.
Talking with Matt Barrows from The Athletic, and Matt is brought to you by Stockton Honda, Northern California's #1 Honda dealer. Yeah, you score 48 on Dallas in Dallas, you're going to catch everybody's attention, Matt. And Jordan Love, to your point, I think he's gotten better as the season's gone along. And they ran the ball very well against Dallas. Between their passing game and their run game, what do you think gives Kyle Shanahan and that defense their most concerns?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a Shanahan offense, so it's the combination of the two. It's being able to run very different plays out of the same looks. This is something that the 49ers are good at. They face it all year long. They face it in the summer as well. Yeah, that jumped out to me as well. The third quarter was a running quarter for the Packers. The Cowboys knew that they were going to try to run the ball, and they couldn't stop them. And they were big runs. I mean, 7 yards here, 8 yards here. That's when basically Dallas raised the white flag there in the third quarter when they couldn't stop the run. To me, what's jumped out in this first round of the playoffs and all season really is that it's just a handful of teams that have really good linebackers. The 49ers are one of them. When they played the Ravens, they saw another team. But most of the league is just bereft of linebacker play. And the Cowboys were high on that list. The Eagles were high on that list. I think that the Packers linebackers are maybe better, but still, I mean, it just seems like that's an area where a lot of these teams, the Packers certainly did it. The 49ers did it when they played the Cowboys and the Eagles. You just take advantage of the soft middle teams, and the 49ers don't have a soft middle. So I think that's going to be a bigger challenge for Jordan Love than what the Cowboys presented on Saturday.
So what scares us as Niner fans, Matt? Talk to us. What's scary about the Packers?
Well, Jordan Love, he does have he's in a great rhythm with his receivers, and I think that they're going to put 3 wide receivers on the field, which means that the 49ers are going to put 3 cornerbacks on the field, and the third cornerback is going to be Ambry Thomas, and Ambry Thomas has a broken hand. So he was definitely the weakest of their 3, and so we're not sure how he's going to be able to play with the cast on his hand as well. So that's a sort of an unknown going into this game. It might rain in this game. I don't know how that's going to affect Brock Purdy, but he wasn't great in the rain in Cleveland in the game. And, there's not going to be any Cleveland Farrell, and I wrote about this earlier in the week, and most people are kind of shrugging at that because Farrell's not really a big name on this team, but he has started 17 games, and he has been with the team since the start of the off-season program back in the early spring, whereas everyone else, even including Nick Bosa, has not been there that long. My point being that he knows how to play that spot, especially on rundown. And the newcomers who are going to have to fill in for him, and that's Randy Gregory and probably a lot of Chase Young, came in midway, and they're still sort of kind of learning the details of the Chris Kasurik, the defensive line. So, given how well the Packers ran in the second half, I do think that that's a bit of a concern. They're going to test the edges. That's what that offense does with its running game. And all of a sudden, you've got a new edge player out there in, like I said, it's probably going to be a lot of Chase Young and a little bit of Randy Gregory.
Any other injury concerns? Armstead near the end of the year. What are we expecting other guys health-wise for the Niners this week?
Yeah, well, I do think that looking at Armstead this week is going to be interesting because he was definitely not full go last week when they had those practices, which is what you'd expect after a long layoff. But he's still got to kind of get into form, and so I'm not sure even in this game he's going to get his usual allotment of snaps or maybe even be as sharp as he usually is. So that's something to watch this week. Right guard is something to watch. John Feliciano has been dealing with a back injury and didn't practice last week. I think he's going to be fine. I think this was just sort of resting your 30-year-olds, which was a theme for the 49ers. But the question of who starts at that spot him or Spencer Burford, I think is a legitimate one. I mean, the 49ers, recent postseasons going all the way back to the Super Bowl, the Chiefs really have been upended by pressure up the middle. They've struggled at that right guard position for years and years. So whoever is playing that, that's been a traditional weak point for the 49ers.
All right, Matt. Well, stretch the fingers, get the keyboard out, and I fully expect us to be talking about and recapping a big playoff win for the 49ers. By the way, should the 49ers make the Super Bowl, am I correct in assuming you're gonna take a trip to Vegas, or are you gonna pawn that one off?
No, that's a short enough distance where I'll allow myself. In fact, we've already made our all the playoff reporters for the Athletic have made their plans in Las Vegas. The media hotel is the Luxor.
Oh,
the Persat's pyramid there.
Oh.
So yeah, fancy time.
Well, stayed at the Luxor. No wonder I have 2 Athletic subscriptions. Had a baby. Well, we may see you down there. We appreciate it, and we'll let's hope for a big win. I know you have to stay impartial, journalist with a capital J, but let's hope for a big win this weekend. Thank you, Matthew. We appreciate you.
All right, I'll talk to you guys on Monday.
All right,
Thank you.
Care.